justice for all.
Joe Britton.
Here.
Rachel Gillespie is here. Kate Netta. Here. Gladys Cooper. Here. Richard Janelli.
Here.
Patrick Johnston.
Here.
Frederick Farrar.
Here.
David Mufena.
Here.
Emmanuel Alvarez. Here. Rob Pettifessa.
Present.
Amy Salino. Here.
AIS, Math Olympiads.
This is is it on the mic?
Yeah, it's on. Testing. Yeah, so tonight we have 3 students who participated in our Math Olympiads, and we had 37 total students, approximately 30% of our fourth and fifth graders, because we're really pushing problem solving this year in the area of mathematics so that students can be pushed in a way that you can't always be pushed in the traditional classroom setting. So it was amazing to see. It was the first year Mrs. McGuire, our 3rd grade departmentalized math teacher, Mr. Calvanese, Mrs. Crate, and of course, where'd he go? Mr. Pollock was our math coach who provided some inspiration for all of us. But most inspiring were the 3 people up in front of us tonight: Daniel Wiseman, Gigi Bakel, and Valone Ilyazi. All 3 students, out of the 160,000 students who participated throughout the nation, these 3 students finished in the top 50th percentile. So what we're going to do is, as Dr. Sal instructed us, we were going to get a trophy. Actually, afterwards, you're going to shake hands with everyone up here, and then we're all going to get a picture over here, and then you can go home. All right? Congratulations.
Great job. Congratulations. Great job.
Are there parents in the audience?
Yes.
Where are they? How about standing up?
Yeah, have them hold their hands.
Trophies. Gotta hold the trophies.
The parents get in the picture too? We can take a picture for you guys. Yeah, we'll take a picture. Let me take the picture. Get in there. Get a little bit. There you go. A little bit closer, guys. Perfect. Get in there. Get in there.
Great job. Thank you. Okay, and we have recognitions for our retirees. And we'll read the names if you want to come around, and we'll do.
This is not new teacher orientation. This is Look at the smile. The first day you got here, you smiled, and the last day you leave.
Jody Allen.
I have to be first.
Look at that, all these years and he's still telling us it's out first. Thank you. Congratulations. Marlene Karabakis, DHS, 18 years. Congratulations. Patricia Cipriano, 39 years. Congratulations. Which way?
On the left, can you tell?
Wayne Colville, 27 years. So much congratulations. Mary Kukurski, 27 years. Congratulations. Linda Foge, 33 years.
I'm gonna be different, I'm gonna start with Joe.
There you go.
Thank
Start
you.
the best first. It's okay, it's fine. Susan Glasser, 30 years. Congratulations. Carla Heider, 22 years. Okay. Susan Johnson, 37 years. Gotta get elevated. Thank you so much. Donna Lewis Hart, 31 years. Thank you. Annette Luciani. Big smile.
All right, we're recruiting for subs if you all want. Sign up.
Janet Tomadio, 33 years.
Berry Beach, 35 years. Patricia Villela, 32 years. Congratulations. Is there anybody on that I didn't call? No? Thank you all so very, very much. There you go. Okay, public participation.
Good evening, guys. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I do want to say that Jennings couldn't be here.
Oh my goodness.
That is what
Thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Leigh Viviano.
Dear members of the board, my name is Leigh Viviano, and I am a special ed teacher at Pembroke Elementary School. I am here today with Dr. Ethel and Mr. Janelli, the Pembroke Playground Committee, to inform you about the magical moments that have happened during the 2018 and 2019 school year. In early September, a parent named Lisa Ruffles asked if her student group, Community Cares, at King Street Intermediate would be allowed to help fundraise for the Pembroke Playground. This was unexpected but truly appreciated, as we never thought we should ask other schools to support this project. The hard work and dedication helped raise $675 throughout the year, collecting recyclable cans and bottles. Then, other schools joined the cause.
So that dear man, Mr. Chip Salvestrini, the Danbury High School athletic director, offered to us the opportunity to fundraise at all of the football games this past fall, and fundraising at various other athletic department events this year helped us to raise another $642. Also at Danbury High School, Mr. Justin Morgan, a teacher there, built 2 huge, large wooden signs. You see them off exit 5. For our teacher, Mrs. Wade, who then painted the fundraising thermometers for us so we could keep everyone posted on our fundraising efforts. Then the momentum continued to take off, and Stadley Ruff has a Kindness and Compassion Club that's run by one of their teachers, Mrs. Debbie Ireland, and they made a $300 donation to the Pembroke Playground. Mr. Roche, thank you very much. The principal at AIS has had our link for the Pembroke Playground on their website to assist in our fundraising efforts since the fall. And their social worker there at AIS, Mary Levasseur, planned a pay-to-play for the students to get an extra recess last week. She even presented to the elementary principals last week, asking all of them to join in. And the total amount raised is not known at this time, but we're looking forward to the update. Mr. Krafik, the principal at Park Avenue, led his students to raise $1,020 collecting pennies for Pembroke. Broadview Middle School's principal, Dr. Thomas, met with Mr. Janelli and Mrs. Viviano last fall to give us some fundraising tips, and she will also be hosting a Pennies for Pembroke initiative, and we look forward to that donation as well.
A little over a week ago, Melissa Busnell, she's a special education teacher at Danbury High School, she informed us that she had all of her students in the Academy of Western Connecticut make and sell hair scrunchies, bracelets, pins, and magnets to help raise money for the Pembroke Playground. She brought her students with special needs to our school's town hall meeting and presented us with a check for $620. What made this even more meaningful is that 3 of her students were former Pembroke students. They showed tremendous growth since they left the halls of Pembroke, and it was just astounding. And the staff at Pembroke was so proud to see where they are today because they were in our self-contained classrooms. Needless to say, they felt like rock stars with the reception that they received. 8 years after they've graduated from Pembroke, the playground is on its way to being fully accessible. The last warm and fuzzy feel-good moment I want to share is about a group of Girl Scouts graduating from Broadview Middle School this month. This troop started together in 1st grade at Pembroke Elementary School. They held their meetings at Pembroke for 5 years. Now they are 14 years old and they are making a donation next week for $250.
So all of these magical moments were started by colleagues that we now obviously call our friends. All of these examples show how a large school district with many individual schools scattered across a large city can come together as a community to teach students how to think larger than themselves and larger than their immediate school. We're honored and blessed to have their support. And moving forward into next year and future years to come, we can't wait to see how our schools can support each other with new projects to benefit other students, teachers, and school buildings. And we thank you very much for your time this evening. We just wanted to share how this community has come together on our behalf.
Thank you. Hattie Alessandro.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Patty Alessandro, and I have 3 children in Danbury Public Schools. 2 are now Danbury High School alumni, and my son Luke will be completing 4th grade at Stafford Rough School. I'm here to tell the board about the incredible experience the 4th grade students participated in at Stafford Rough. For over 30 years, students at Stafford Rough had had the opportunity to go to Nature's Classroom, a week-long outdoor educational program. Any child who would like to go can go regardless of their financial situation, thanks to the tireless efforts made by the teachers to fundraise and apply for grants. My 2 older girls would hands down tell you it is one of their favorite elementary school experiences. My son Luke has Down syndrome. He may not be able to verbally tell you it was his favorite experience, but I can speak for him. When Luke entered school, my husband and I set similar expectations and wished for the same experiences that the girls had. When the time came for his class to go to Nature's Classroom, there was not a hint of hesitation made by his teacher, Danielle Catanese, tutor paraprofessional Kim Shook, and Melinda Scott, 4th grade teacher and Nature Classroom coordinator, to include Luke. Luke spent the whole week with his classmates participating in group activities, beach and wood excursions, eating and sleeping without parental involvement. The teachers take the time away from their families to make this a trip of a lifetime. They go above and beyond. There are not enough words or ways to thank the teachers, so I wanted to publicly let the board know that Danielle, Melinda, and Kim extended their time, patience, not only to my students, my son, but to all the students. And if you ever look for parent nominations for Teacher of the Year, I think both Melinda and Danielle deserve recognition. Thank you for supporting this opportunity for our students, and thank you for your time.
Alex Ilardi.
My name is Alex Ilardi. I am a Cluster 7-3 student at Broadview Middle School, and I would like to speak to you today about the planned loss of the accelerated language arts classes in all 3 grades at Broadview Middle School. Before sharing my concerns, I would like to express that I recognize the challenges of scheduling how an entire school runs, and that sometimes sacrifices must be made in order to meet the needs of the majority rather than the few in terms of a variety of administrative decisions. But it is also my strong belief that the accelerated language arts classes are not something that can be sacrificed for the sake of upwards of 35 students at Broadview Middle School. The accelerated language arts classes are made up of students who do not need the same resources and support that other students might need. Removing them from a classroom setting that meets their needs to one that does not will only hinder their academic performance. There are many students that need a structure to first be able to complete a task, but when pupils have completed a task many times with ease, they do not need to be confined to that same structure. I've known many young people who were given the opportunity and space to learn as they do best, and they have created amazing things that simply would not have been possible within the confinements of a curriculum, rubric, or class that wasn't designed for them. Before becoming a student at Broadview, I didn't know how to write a free-form essay of any sort. Not because I didn't have the ability to, but because I'd never been asked to do so. In my 6th grade year, that all changed. While learning how to write a DBQ essay in social studies using acronyms to remember the essay's intended order and structure, in language arts, I learned how to write creatively, how to steer away from blunt transitional devices and rigid word choice. I learned how much I really was capable of, and surprised even myself because I was given the chance to explore my academic abilities in the accelerated language arts class. In all honesty, I think kindness and compassion matter more in life than intelligence. But I know that to expect well-rounded, loving, compassionate children, all forms of intelligence must be nurtured. All students should be able to learn in the environment that is best for them. Then, that nurturing and positive setting will bring out the best in Broadview students, including their natural sense of empathy and capability to be kind. While the accelerated language arts classes are not what every student needs, or even what the majority of students need, it is what I and many kids like me need to make the most of our academic careers at Broadview Middle School. The needs of students who are able to move through language arts topics at a quick pace are just as important as the needs of students who would benefit from language arts lessons at a reduced pace. All students' needs deserve to be addressed and validated. I appreciate all that I have learned in language arts these past 2 years, but I will not be able to continue to learn effectively without the accelerated language arts classes. I sincerely ask you to weigh the advantages and detriments of losing these classes more carefully, because my future hangs in the balance. Thank you.
Is there anybody who wanted to speak that was not on the list? Anybody? Anybody? Thank you so much. Okay. Send through the consent calendar.
I move that the Board of Education approves the items on the consent calendar, exhibits 19-88 through 19-90 as recommended.
Seconded by Mr. Pisa. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Those opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Donation. What's that? Right, we have no student representatives today.
Presentation, that's good.
No, so go down to action items. A will be the only one we do right now.
I move that the Board of Education approve the amendment to the Sodexo Management Agreement to extend the agreement for 1 year, July 1, 2019 until June 30th, 2020, 19-91.
Second. Seconded by Mr. Matrina. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. The remainder of the action items we're going to move to later in tonight's meeting. So we'll go to new policies. Well, wait, we're gonna motion to amend it after. We'll just move that for now so that we can do it all at one time. So we don't have to ask everybody to leave and come back.
I move that the Board of Education accept for second reading and adoption the following policies as contained in the agenda in accordance with 19-93.
I'll second. Seconded by Mr. Karat. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Superintendent's report.
So, NCE, we had looked into that, in terms of what goes into the net governmental expenditure.
Just bring up my sheet.
Well, let me go to B.
Yeah,
If it doesn't rain, last day of school is graduation June 19th for the high school. And then the middle schools, I think we've gotten invitations, still correct? It's the day before. Everybody's welcome to those. I understand there's 710 students in the class. Sterling, do you know how many are in the class this year? With high school?
I don't know the number, no.
About 710, I think is what he said, at least last week. Joe?
just find it's in the packet. I know I gave Debbie to go in. Just gotta go through policies.
We can do C. I put in there
C's fine too.
class hours. For a number of years, we had 2 early dismissals, and it was a little confusing to parents. We maintained one that was in there for, I don't know how many years. Oh, I'm sorry. We maintained the schedule, an early release schedule that was used for many years. And then we went to a weather release schedule because our kids, particularly the elementary schools, have been out during the storms. So we did that for about 5 or 6 years. We've had 2. There's no real good reason to have both. So we eliminated one, and we went to the regular release schedule, which is the weather one, but it's in there as one single one. So now we have an early release, parent will not remember if it's weather or non-weather. So that'll make clarity a little better. Less likely, I hope to God, not losing anybody. That's always my frightening days when we do things like that. But anyway, that schedule's in there. I did give it to all of the schools. They seem to be fine with it. Henry Habitat had a little bit of an adjustment, and they have their own half day, so we shouldn't have any problems. Lastly, as you know, as I think as tonight, we're getting a letter of resignation. We're receiving Gwen from King Street has gotten a new position as principal, and we're moving 1 principal to campus. We used to have 2. We went to 1 for campus articulation issues and transition issues. We've grown so much that it makes sense to put a principal in each building with a lead person. So with this time of the year, we'll register it as an interim, as that we've done in other places. We'll post it from within, which means our folks will have, there will be no one but our folks will be applying. And then next year, we'll go through the regular processes we did this year at Morris Street and over at Ellsworth. So that'll be happening tomorrow. I think we'll be posting. Okay. Joe, number 1.
Yeah, number 1. So I included the board packets as a blurb of what's included in the net per pupil. What I'm trying to pull from the state is the data we submit to them back. They'll give a better breakdown on actually how we come down to the 12,900 and change. So as it states, the only thing that's backed out of that piece is reimbursement of regular education transportation, which that grant is actually gone, so it's kind of irrelevant. Tuition revenue, which we get really no tuition money that comes back. If you had someone that actually gave you money for a child to come here, we don't have any of that revenue that comes in. Capital expenditure for land, building, equipment, and debt service. So any of your city bonds, the high school building project would not enter into that. So in theory, it would skew the data in there. So net per pupil would include all the pieces that compilate into that for net per pupil. The best way to do it is, again, just for the sake of time, I couldn't pop it in, is I want to show how it comes back through the calculation. It is a wonky calculation that gets submitted to the state. They get all of our charter accounts. Every single account we have gets coded and submitted to the state based on their criteria they have. It's actually a new system we went through last year. I was actually curious when we submitted it because EDO1, which is the report that's not always traditionally been filed, I was curious how close it would come to net per pupil, and the number did not move far because it does compilate the way Title I gets classified and all those pieces. It drills it out by school. So yeah, all those pieces are in there, including the Lions, your ECS money that gets counted. The only thing that doesn't factor into there, I believe, is your non-public transportation, which is $1 million. That gets backed out to consider, because some districts might have no non-public schools, some have got a lot. We have a lot. Other towns may have none, so that's an expense that gets backed out to make them. We tend to make them all equal.
So for the board, we were for a time didn't think the title was included in there. We were asked about that, and that's why we looked into it. All of it except those few are omitted, so that is our actual per pupil expenditure minus those categories. So all the titles are in there, and all of that. So
Yeah, I'm gonna,
confusion.
I want to get that breakdown better, because it actually does lay out nicely. In my prior district, we did kind of break down the show, because we were the top 5, so the question why we're so high.
But, oh, I'm sorry.
Does the Alliance money include it or does not?
The Alliance money is folded in. I am not sure if there's a weighting formula on that. That was a question I had up there. If there is any calculation that factors into that cash, I don't believe it does. So it does come in with the full weight of Alliance into that calculation.
So within it would be ECS funding. So now we're differentiating between what we used to call Alliance and ECS numbers for.
It comes in as your full, I think the way the state brings it in, it's not a separate grant, it comes in as your full $32 million. So the Alliance grant, in a sense, the way it comes into the calculation, it's just ECS money.
Right.
So it's not really a separate grant, they merge them together for this calculation.
So what would be the difference in terms of, theoretically, if we took the budget that we have, which essentially incorporates and excludes pretty much, I would say, all of what you just mentioned, and using that and dividing by the students, would you come out theoretically with pretty much
It
the
will
same
come out
answer?
close, like I said,
Opposed to it?
Yeah, your net per pupil, what does go into your grant, for example, is what's called in-kind services. So for example, the public buildings who services our schools, so those maintenance workers and those salaries come back into our budget as in-kind. So that those are city services where a regional school district, for example, those costs are all inside of it. So maintenance, all building maintenance is covered. The city does your maintenance, so therefore the city actually breaks out the cost of those salaries and we bring it back, and so it comes back into our budget. So your budget's $130 million. It's really, there's actually an extra $500,000 in there for city salaries that are, your SROs come back in, because those are sitting on the city books, but in a sense, they're direct board costs, they come back in to our costs.
Thank you.
Budget, as you know, we do have a budget, the state has a budget. I think they're meeting, trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's
We're
fine.
still doing some meeting. I'm still advocating for graduation requirements, but you see, I think we're going to have a special audience, so that is, we haven't given up on that. A lot of reasons why they need to look at that. But at this point, our current 8th graders will be approaching new graduation requirements unless we're told differently. But as far as the budget goes, we've gotten the recommendations, and Joe, I know we're going to have a finance committee meeting.
The request the finance committee of the board next Wednesday if possible, probably the best day to go. I mean, all week is fine, but.
Graduation is.
Oh.
Yes, Wednesday, I was just going to say.
What do you do it on the
18th.
stage? Okay, so, well, you pick. Where works for the board. I mean, we're all week.
Put you in the chairman.
Whatever is convenient.
Well, the 17th is Ace graduation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got two graduations.
Adult Ed is graduating at 7 on the 17th, 18th is moving up ceremonies until 5. So maybe on the 18th after the moving up ceremonies.
That would end pretty much at 6.
Probably that would end at 6, so if anybody going there could be here by.
Could we hold the meeting at
I was saying, hold it at the high school?
Yeah.
We'll just notice the conference room at the high school or something like that.
So
That works.
June 18,
Let's make it 6:30 at DHS.
6:30, DHS.
That box there. What was the meal ceremony?
Parking might be messy. I don't know what.
I'm thinking, well, unless they've changed it to moving up ceremonies in the auditorium.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's crazy out there.
I was gonna say parking is.
It's kind of tough.
Might be better to do the black box, just to be out of the outpouring.
Pictures
I
and.
forget when those end, maybe should we push it back to 7? I mean, I forget when that, because I'm just looking to count, that starts at 5.
Yeah, it usually takes about an
What's
hour.
the last one?
Broadview's at, Broadview's at 5,
Yeah,
correct?
Broadview's at
Yeah.
5.
Is that the only night we
Come
have?
on, Mike.
You could go to the last one, it's for the finance committee.
Can we do it before the last?
26?
We have nothing on the 26th before the 7 o'clock meeting, so
Yeah.
you want to do it 6 o'clock on the 26th?
Can you, I think it gives a little more time.
Yeah, I would go 5:30.
5:30,
Yeah,
5 o'clock, whatever you tell me.
Yeah, what time? Five.
Mr. Walsh?
So just a reminder, we do need one more meeting, policy subcommittee meeting for that equity policy we have discussed before. So if we have it reflected in the minutes that we have first reading approved, it will satisfy the conditions of the grant.
How much time do you want to do that at 5 o'clock on the 26th, the finance committee meeting at 5:30?
You also just, because you're going to have one grievance on for that meeting as well, unless you want to make a special day. We could do it at the executive session at the end of the meeting, but that's late.
On the 26th?
Yeah, it shouldn't be particularly long.
Well, I don't know what we have on the agenda for the 26th yet, but I mean,
We're nearly going to be.
I'm pretty sure that most of the people would like to button everything up by the end
should be
of the
pretty
night
light.
on the 26th.
Yeah.
Do 5:30? Kevin, how long do you think your meeting?
It's only one policy, so perhaps 30 minutes, depends on the appetite of the board.
I don't mess around.
Do you think it
Depends on any question.
Given our efficiency in the last meeting, I think we can do it.
Do you want to do 4:30 on the 26th and lead right into the finance committee right after, and 4:30 too early?
Why not the 25th on Tuesday at 5:30?
25th, Tuesday?
25th, Tuesday at 5:30.
Or 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. 5:30, 6 o'clock.
What works for
6
members
o'clock.
of the...
5:45 maybe?
5:45?
How about we meet every day for an hour?
That sounds
The whole
awesome.
next coming month.
That sounds awesome.
Where's the equity or not?
I'm easy.
That goes without saying.
5:30? 5:30 on Tuesday the 25th.
So 5:30, 6:25. That is for, which is that policy. And then we're going to continue it on the 26th with the finance committee at 5:30.
Just gonna do it, and then just, will we do, I just want to be clear, so, because I need to tell the grievance to come. So do it at the end of the meeting or at the beginning?
Whatever, the only problem with doing it in the beginning is we have to ask anybody who came to leave. And
Usually we do them, well, we usually don't do any, when we've done them a half hour before the meeting starts, or.
we
or
can,
same
that works for me. I mean, we can, except we're doing the finance committee at 5:30, so, but I mean, we could do it from 7 to, what do you think, 20 minutes is gonna take, half an hour? I mean, we could do it from 7 and then invite everybody in. If you wanna do that right off, first thing, when that's done.
Okay.
Does that work for everybody else?
So let me just, so the posting wise, so starting at 7, then they'll go into executive session
At the beginning of the
at the
meeting?
beginning, so we're
Yeah.
not a special.
Yes.
And then we'll just open the doors up as soon as that's done.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That works for everybody, so 7 o'clock.
So with the budget, everybody here knows, but just briefly tell them what the
Sure.
amounts.
Briefly, right now, we obviously have the 2.7 million from the city. Your ECS funding is $2,723,000. That came out of the appropriations budget. So your total allocation to state and city is 2.4 million, or sorry, 5.4 million, which obviously leaves you approximately 2.3 million to reduce down. Dr. Sal and I we've been grappling with a couple additional costs that kind of came up when we talked about at the last finance meeting, some of the additional special education costs we're trying to bear. We've been in contact with the city about some of those costs going forward and trying to find some way where we can access excess cost funds that the city side currently, because if not, we would literally have to up accounts on the board side to deal with some of the increased costs that have literally shown up since, I say about January, February, when the original budget was approved.
I think had we known that, we probably would have asked for 8.5.
Yeah, we would have came in about 84, I mean, higher.
That's
It was,
the kind of thing.
and also, in the competing issue too, the health insurance number is actually not, typically, we kind of put a higher number up, and you'll see costs come down as you close to renewal. We've really not seen that. I've actually costs reconfirm the amount. I've seen less abilities to reduce that number, so that's the other challenge we're fighting now. We've seen a kind of a uptick in claim pools, which we haven't really had in my time here, so that's concerning. So we're also grappling with that. So there's some competing issues. Plus the enrollment growth and all the good stuff we can fight everything.
Joe, just, that included the donation from the
Matrix.
Matrix,
Yes.
500,000.
Yes.
So the total from the city was
2.7 million from the city, and it says 2.7 and change from the state, and no TRP.
that's big for us. It was 500 this year
Right.
and
5 million from
for next year.
lunch. I'll talk for Grant. The lunch price increases. As the board knows, we have to maintain a state mandated amount on the increases, a cost average we have to get to based on meals served. Even though a lot of our schools will be on what's called CEP next year, we'll still require to keep the cost up. So you'll see a dime and a dime on your increase for next year. I'd like to go a nickel, but the state average forces me to put a dime. So I'm gonna go with that.
For the board, there is a trip planned to Panama. It's included in here, all the insurances, as the board had indicated, so that's all ready to go. Technology lease, Joe?
Technology lease went to the city council for approval already. That is the lease that's currently, that's the high school lease at DHS. It's $150,000 lease payment for 5 years, total $750,000. What you see before your document is a rough compilation. We think the bids will come in at for equipment. Primarily to replace some teacher devices and obviously your Chromebook cards that exist out there. Some of your computer labs that are out there as well. One of the debates Dr. Stalin are having is we want to delay the release of the lease because obviously if I can delay it 6 months, that's $75,000. I'll delay the payment out. We'll recoup some of that money to make adjustments in our budget. So we're contemplating that. Again, the conversation with the finance committee of the board said we're going to hold that lease. The good news is though, my approvals are done to the city council. The board will adopt next meeting. We can pull the trigger and release any time we want. It's just a question of how we want to set it up in our budget. This replaces a current lease that's expiring. It was a 5-year lease that's ending this summer.
T-Val plan, Kevin, do you have something with that?
Yes, so last week we met with the T-Val committee to finalize the recommendations for the 1920 school year. The recommendations included to revisit a protocol for staff. So when staff is challenging an observer's recommendations in T-Val, our teachers were stating that they didn't have somewhere, there was not a protocol in our platform to, I don't want to say argue, but I'm going to say argue the results of the observations. And so we've come up with a protocol now where the teachers can respond back to. Our supervisors of teachers have been asked not to finalize an observation. Teachers will have an opportunity to review the observation, provide feedback. If they don't agree with the results of the observation, if protocol in any way has not been adhered to, they can argue that as well. There's a space for it. If for some reason we can't come to a decision, there's something in the recommendation where they can come to my office as a first level of a complaint, and then if it can't be handled at my office, then it would reach up to the superintendent, but that's only if its procedures have been broken. Otherwise, it will be pushed back to the school to handle it at the school. One of the things that we talked about is that the principal, in most cases, or the supervisor will do the observation over if they can't come to some kind of agreement. But I think we've found some common ground. So the update that is in T-Val plan, everything else is the same, but this protocol is something that our teachers and staff have been asking for. We have found a place to update that in T-Val, so I think we're in a good place. we will be revisiting the language again at the beginning of the next school year. But that's the update. That's it.
That's it on that. For new people too, the meeting location and the time for the graduation, DHS. Same.
Procedure.
We meeting in the same spot behind.
The end, will send something out to us, and I'll double check.
I know last year there was some construction, we got moved around.
Yeah, no, we'll do it this year.
Like-
Yeah, that's done.
What he'll do, I'll ask him again, and I'll send it to you. But generally, right by Norton area, they'll quarter off here for our parking. I would think they would meet again by the gymnasium.
Yeah, but-
There's no construction.
Where the tennis courts are, that side is where they usually rope off.
Right.
Yeah.
But we'll send it.
Back to roll or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll send it.
Yeah, they sent the letter out home. I forgot who did about
To
that.
parents.
No, to board members.
So you got it right.
Yeah, but I remember, I think 2 years ago, a couple of years ago, we got there and the parking was packed. And we were like, oh, parking, like, nah. They put us like somewhere else.
I sold your space.
I don't particularly like walking, so.
That's a fundraiser to pick up the slack.
Yeah, no, so yeah, just make sure, because, and also, the shawls, yeah.
Yeah, I have mine.
I saved mine.
Who doesn't, you have,
I saved mine.
who doesn't have 1, 2,
I may have an extra one.
3,
I know there was one or
4?
down in the office was like.
Yeah, I think
For you guys,
I mean,
you want to get there, I don't know what time we're gonna meet, but we want to get there earlier. I think Joe left like an hour ahead of time and got.
Still didn't make it.
And sat out in front of Danbury High
I
School.
was like, what the heck? That was last year. That was last year.
we gotta live down the street. I had my husband just drop me off. I don't have to worry about the park.
Same seats, like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
No, no. Oh, that's
I
it.
got, I think I got 10 minutes to,
But I'll make sure, we'll have the, I'll send it out.
perfect.
And also, I mentioned before, I know it happened last year, it happened when I was a chairperson. Remember, you had to introduce us. It wasn't on the chairperson, I'm saying, because when we went to speech, it went from, I think, Mayor Mark to you, but on the program it said the chairperson, but they didn't say, I don't think they changed the script because a couple years before,
The
chairperson did
chairperson
not
didn't
speak.
give a speech.
So they need to update that because they call you and then you went up and introduced me that 1 year and then the same thing with Pat last year. So just
I'll
make sure.
double check that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll call Dan.
thank you.
Thank you.
And I have nothing additional to add for the chairperson's report. Does anybody have any communications?
Just a couple things. I went to a few things.
Just a small notebook.
No, it's not, it's two. I went to the annual Francis Evans Elementary Physical Education Track and Field Meet, which is always a very wonderful display of all the elementary schools that compete
Mark
against
Otis.
each other. Mark
That was the high
Otis.
school, right?
Yeah, at the high school. I will mention to him that I think it's a good event that all board members should be invited to attend. It is such a cool way to build camaraderie and show school spirit, and just very well done. And I was there as a parent, and then I ended up receiving a very nice email from Mr. Otis thanking me for attending, so that was nice. And then the other thing I want to mention was the West Side Middle School Academy's award ceremony. Again, I was there as a parent, but it was just a really great event. It was outside. There was about 400 students that were recognized and given awards to honor rolls, but also improvement, and it was really well done. The teachers all were so enthusiastic and really showed pride in their students. So it was another great event. It really made me proud. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Liz?
I went to pay to play at AIS last Friday. It was wild. It was so great. The kids got an extra recess for bringing in $1. They had $1. And I got introduced to the Gaga pit.
Yes, you did.
I didn't get in that Gaga pit, but I watched everybody else do it, the kids. That was just wild. I don't know, Mr. Roach, maybe you could explain that Gaga pit, but it was a lot.
It's like this generation's version of dodgeball.
Yep.
Yeah. In an enclosed,
In an
fenced-in
octagon.
area,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, the kids really, I mean, one kid doesn't want an extra half-hour recess, right?
Right.
But the teachers were great. I had a lot of great conversations out on the playground with the kids. You know, hey, it was a nice summery-like day, and they enjoyed it. But I think they raised, I don't know how much they raised yet, but
It was $1,050 plus some.
wow.
You can do that here, I'll pay $1 for half an hour recess.
I think we should have a dodgeball tournament. And
It's fun.
yeah.
It's fun. Well done.
Well, thank you so much. Does anybody else have anything? Okay, Mr. Karat.
What, did we address action item B, the meeting dates?
I apologize, I boxed that out and I moved to move it at the end, so I guess we can do that now. Moving that post. Made the wrong circle.
Are we going to catch?
Well, the Board of Education meeting dates, I actually boxed that off and only did A, when I should have done A and B. My mistake.
Okay. I'll move that the Board of Education approve the 2019-2020 Board of Education meeting dates in accordance with 19-92.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Karat. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
I would like to make a motion that the board enter into executive session for the purposes of discussing the superintendent's contract along with all other exempt employees, contracts, and salaries.
I second the motion.
Seconded by Mrs. Cooper. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much, everybody, for coming.
I'm pretty sure that.
How's it being back?